Support for the Roundup comes from Symphony 3, allowing councils to connect their systems securely, to automate their data flows and to monitor performance in real time. And right now, councils are lining up for their own emergency dashboard, like the one that Symphony 3 has created for the city of Greater Bendigo. The dashboard helps keep the community safe and prepared before, during and after emergencies. It pulls together live data, including weather data, traffic data, emergency incidents, unplanned and planned disruptions, news and social media feeds. Visit www.symphony3.com to learn how you can get an emergency dashboard for your community. Coming up on the Roundup, resignations trigger a quorum crisis in WA. A council CEO's surprise career move. Chapel Street traders drop their legal challenge against Stonnington Council. Peak groups call the Victorian state budget a missed opportunity. Newcastle's new Lord Mayor is confirmed. Industrial action to hit the Western Downs. A mayor targeted by a nasty graffiti attack. And a councillor's viral spray against his own council. Hello, I'm Chris Eddy, back with more news from and about councils across Australia and beyond. This is the Local Government News Roundup. And it's all brought to you by our foundation sponsor, the Victorian Local Governance Association, the national broadcaster on all things local government, with support from Symphony 3, simple, connected customer experiences, and from Rath Engineering Development, smarter local government systems built from real on-the-ground experience. Hello, thank you for joining us wherever you are in Australia or around the world. It's Wednesday the 6th of May 2026. And here are today's top 3 stories. 6 councillors, including the Shire President, have resigned from the Shire of Carnarvon in Western Australia over the past few days, leaving the 8-member Shire without enough elected members to form a quorum. In a statement, the Council CEO Mandy Dexter confirmed the resignations mean the council cannot currently hold valid meetings or make decisions requiring a formal council resolution. Just 2 elected members remain, including the acting Shire President Burke Maslin. The Shire says it has formally notified the Minister for Local Government and is now working to confirm the next steps. Local Government Minister Hannah Beasley said yesterday that she's sought advice on the appropriate process and next steps, while Premier Roger Cook is reportedly anticipating the appointment of a commissioner. Despite the disruption, the Shire insists day-to-day operations will continue as normal. The Council CEO says there'll be no comment on individual reasons for resignations at this time, and there will be further updates as more information becomes available. In South Australia, the Local Government Association has appointed Victoria McCurdy as its new Chief Executive Officer. Ms McCurdy has led the city of Victor Harbour as CEO since 2018 and has nearly 30 years' experience in local government. VLGA SA President Mayor Dr Heather Holmes-Ross says McCurdy's leadership and sector knowledge made her a standout choice after a competitive recruitment process. Victoria starts in the new role on the 20th of July. And the city of Stonnington in Melbourne has welcomed the withdrawal of a legal challenge to its Chapel Street special rate scheme, launched at VCAT by a small number of Chapel Street traders. In a statement, the traders say they filed the application late last year without legal advice, but are now withdrawing after considering the council's response and the tribunal's observations. They also acknowledge the scheme has been administered appropriately and in line with its declared purpose. Stonnington CEO Dale Dixon says the move will bring the VCAT proceedings to an end, calling it an affirmation the council has acted lawfully and prudently. The council says it's investing $4.38 million this financial year to revitalise the precinct, with more than 7.4 million people having visited Chapel Street last year, spending over $1 billion. And those are our top 3 stories for today, Wednesday the 6th of May. A big day in Victoria yesterday with industrial action across 8 Melbourne councils, part of a multi-employer bargaining agreement, and they used State Budget Day to make their statement. Let's look at some reaction to the budget. The MAV says the budget is a missed opportunity to invest in local communities. And while it welcomes extra spending on state-owned roads, councils warn it won't be enough to improve safety and productivity on major arterial routes. The association is also questioning whether an $11 million investment over 2 years can deliver the planning reforms being demanded, including upgrades across Victoria's 79 council planning systems. The MAV says it will continue pushing for long-term funding for essential infrastructure and core local services. Rural Councils Victoria says the budget's new $20 million Future Regions program is a welcome first step for country communities, supporting housing-enabling infrastructure, upgraded facilities and investment attraction. But RCV Chair Councillor Rob Amos says it's only a start, urging all parties ahead of this year's election to commit to a much larger long-term regional productivity and growth fund. The South West Victoria Alliance said the budget still falls short for the region despite that new Future Regions program. It welcomed funding for enabling infrastructure and community upgrades, but says it doesn't match rising demand for roads, housing and essential services. The Outer Melbourne Councils Alliance said the budget fell short with only modest new spending despite rapid population growth, while welcoming bus upgrades, new community hospitals and planning money for the Melton Rail Line. The OMC Alliance says there's no replacement funding for the AXT Growing Suburbs Fund, nor major pool and library upgrades. That's just some of the reactions so far. I'm sure there'll be more, and we'll catch up with that in future editions. In other news, several playgrounds across Hobsons Bay will undergo urgent repairs after inspections found more sites in poor condition than expected. Council crews will make temporary safety fixes, remove unsafe equipment and carry out selected repairs while planning future upgrades. Burgoyne Reserve in Williamstown is the only urgent site, with the playground already removed and a like-for-like replacement underway. But other affected sites include reserves in Williamstown, Altona Meadows, Altona North and Brooklyn. Latrobe City Council has appointed Yarra Drones to design and establish an advanced air mobility command centre at Latrobe Regional Airport, backed by Victorian government funding. The new facility, part of the Latrobe Aerospace Technology Precinct, will give drone operators a dedicated place to research, test and evaluate uncrewed aircraft systems in a controlled environment. The project aims to support safer, scalable trials of low to no emissions aviation technologies. Greater Shepparton City Council is calling for ongoing region-specific management of Queensland fruit fly in the Goulburn-Murray Valley after an independent report found the area faces a high risk and can't rely on approaches used elsewhere in Australia. Mayor Shane Sarley says under-resourcing could threaten jobs, markets and the regional economy. Partner councils and industry groups are advocating for $1 million a year for a high-intensity program. Loddon Shire Council will pause any move to add extra curbside bins, citing uncertainty around proposed Victorian government service standards. The council says it will write to the local government minister, urging the state to finalise long-delayed regulations and consider alternative collection options, warning the current draft model could drive up costs and put pressure on council budgets and household rates. Macedon Ranges Shire Council is backing community calls for urgent upgrades to a dangerous pedestrian crossing on Romsey Road in Woodend, near the Woodend Primary School. The council wants the Department of Transport and Planning to assess conditions and consider a range of safety treatments, including interim measures, after 2 serious incidents. Greater Geelong Council is calling for new mobile food vendors, tourist attractions and water-based activity operators to help revitalise the city's waterfront. The City of Greater Geelong says expressions of interest are now open, seeking innovative, high-quality experiences to complement existing operators like the Giant Skywheel and the Eastern Beach Train. And Victorian local government corruption fears are resurfacing, with integrity experts warning a Casey-style scandal could happen again. The Age reports this week that despite IBAC recommendations to cap or even ban property developer donations to councillors, the Victorian government's new planning law stopped short, adding only extra disclosure rules. Former IBAC Commissioner Robert Redlick says without title limits, Victoria remains an outlier and councils stay exposed to conflicts of interest and public distrust. The government says it's improving transparency, but critics argue key reforms are still sitting on the shelf. Let's grab some more Victoria news in brief. Works are underway to remove parking metres across Horsham's CBD after the council voted in June last year to discontinue their use. The move completes the transition to free time-limited parking. Sarsfield in East Gippsland Shire has officially opened its upgraded recreation reserve and community hall, marking the completion of a $3.8 million redevelopment, more than 4 years in the making. And Port Phillip Mayor Alex Macon and Deputy Mayor Brian Mears have hosted an international delegation from Ya'an in China's Sichuan province. The visit focused on cultural exchange, local governance and strengthening ties between the two communities. Discussions covered tourism in Port Phillip and how decision-making works across local, state and federal government in Australia. This is your midweek edition of the Local Government News Roundup. It's Wednesday, the 6th of May, and this is episode number 582. To New South Wales, and Gavin Morris has been confirmed as Newcastle's new Lord Mayor after the New South Wales Electoral Commission declared the results of the by-election yesterday. The poll was triggered by the resignation of former Lord Mayor Ross Kerridge in February after 17 months in the role. Morris will take the affirmation of office next Tuesday before chairing a Development Application Committee meeting, the first formal meeting of his term. The final cost of the by-election has been put at just over $1.1 million, and it will be added to the Council's 2025-26 budget review later this month. Sydney's Lord Mayor, Clover Moore, has blocked a pro-Palestine forum from being held in a City of Sydney Council venue, citing public safety and community cohesion, according to The Guardian. That's despite the council receiving advice that it had no legal grounds to do so, according to a report from the Sydney Morning Herald. Organisers say the event will go ahead in a nearby park, while Jewish community leaders have welcomed the cancellation. New South Wales Premier Chris Minns has also backed the decision. Kyogle Council says it's disheartened, disappointed and disillusioned after a break-in at the newly opened Malangani Lookout Observatory. IndyNR.com reported that equipment and electrical infrastructure worth around $20,000 was stolen, including power for site lighting and toilet water pumps. Police are investigating. Muswellbrook Shire Council has self-reported to the New South Wales Independent Commission Against Corruption and the Office of Local Government, following an independent investigation into issues linked to the Richard Gill School. Mayor Jeff Drayton says the move follows findings about the original deal to gift land to the school, with formal complaints lodged late last week. Mayor Drayton says the council's own inquiry faced limits where some people declined to take part, and ICAC's wider powers may allow a fuller investigation. The council is now waiting to see if either agency takes further action. Bellingen Shire Council has unanimously backed a new affordable housing plan for Urunga, moving to negotiate with the Waterfall Way Community Land Trust. News of the Area reported that the model keeps the land in community ownership while eligible locals buy the homes, keeping prices down long term. The council says there are still safeguards to work through, including valuation, probity checks and the development approval process. Armidale Regional Council is consulting the community on the New England Rail Trail framework. The proposal would turn the disused Great Northern Rail corridor between Armidale and Glen Innes into an off-road walking and cycling route, and the council says the feedback will shape the formal proposal to the state government. Drop-in sessions are planned in Armidale and Guyra, with submissions also online. And Kiama Council is urging locals to sign up for the New South Wales Government's first Community Cabinet of the year, with Premier Chris Minns and ministers hosting a Q&A forum at the Pavilion on Tuesday the 19th of May. The Mayor says it's a chance to raise priorities like council finances, planning and housing and major local projects. Registrations are free and close on the 15th of May. More New South Wales news in brief. Parramatta City Council has unveiled a plan to turn the southern CBD into a new Chinatown and nighttime precinct. It's the first phase of the CBD South Parramatta Master Plan. The draft will go on public exhibition with submissions open from next Monday. Mid-Coast Council is leading regional New South Wales in development activity, processing 646 development applications this financial year, worth more than $307 million in local investment. And Blue Mountain City Council has released its formal submission opposing the proposed Narrowneck Road development at Katoomba, warning of serious concerns over scale, bushfire risk, environmental impacts and local character. Public submissions have been extended to the 7th of May, with residents urged to have their say. We are travelling around the nation to bring you the latest local government happenings of note, and we move on to Queensland now, where Western Downs Regional Council says it's preparing for protected industrial action that could begin today, Wednesday the 6th of May, as enterprise bargaining negotiations continue. The council has been notified that unions may take work stoppages and says any employees who participate will be locked out until the start of their next shift, in a move aimed at limiting disruptions to services. CEO Jodie Taylor says staff taking part won't be paid for time not worked. She argues the council's pay offer, 4% in year 1, 4% in year 2 and 3% in year 3 with a possible CPI uplift is fair. Cairns Regional Council's secret recordings row is being pushed to state integrity watchdogs, according to the Cairns Post. Local Government Minister Anne Lay says concerns about recordings and council unrest should be referred to bodies like the OIA and the CCC. Mayor Amy Eden has declined to answer questions about allegedly recording meetings with councillors and staff without consent after a councillor called for an apology. Central Highlands Regional Council says it will hold a special meeting next week, the 11th of May, to appoint an acting CEO, extending on the interim leadership of advisor Gary Stevenson, who originally committed to help out until May 18. Mayor Janice Moriarty says the move will keep the recruitment process transparent, thorough and not rushed. It follows the recent resignation of Aaron Johansson from the CEO position. Mount Isa City Council has begun legal action against 48 properties with rates unpaid for 3 years or more, with more than $1 million in debt across the sites. Mayor Tim Rose told ABC News that selling homes would be a last resort after notices, debt collection and court steps. But he warns that forced sales could depress the local market if too many properties go to auction at once. Douglas Shire Council is defending a crackdown on boats, trailers and caravans being left on roadsides and council land, with fines of $333 now being issued. Mayor Lisa Scomazon says the move follows growing complaints about congestion, lost parking and safety concerns. But Yahoo News reports that at least one resident argues that councils can't override state road rules without specific signage. The council says its enforcement approach is based on risk, not location. And Moreton Bay City Council has signed a new trade-focused MOU with Shizuoka City in Japan, strengthening ties ahead of the 2032 Olympic and Paralympic Games. Mayor Peter Flannery says the deal will boost opportunities in trade, tourism, education and sport and open new export pathways for local businesses. Down to the Apple Isle, graffiti has been sprayed on the road into Bushy Park in Tasmania, targeting Dew and Valley Mayor Michelle Dracoulis, after the council confirmed the Bushy Park War Memorial swimming pool will not reopen. The council says the pool can't legally operate, citing multiple compliance issues including lost parking, non-compliant wastewater infrastructure and the inability to secure an EPA discharge permit. Mayor Dracoulis says the issues have existed for decades but were only recently assessed against current standards. She's condemned the vandalism, saying frustration must be grounded in facts. Pulse Tasmania reported the council has also apologised for earlier assurances that the pool would reopen. Kingborough Council's CEO Dave Stewart has admitted a data breach that exposed thousands of residents' names and property addresses was caused by human error, not a cyber attack. The council says some records may also include email addresses and concedes it has no formally adopted data governance policy. Pulse Tasmania reported an external firm is now monitoring the open internet and dark web, with affected residents to be contacted once the investigation is complete. Glenorchy City Council has expanded its CBD CCTV network with 58 cameras now operating and linked directly to Tasmania Police. Mayor Sue Hickey says the cameras help deter antisocial behaviour and reduce vandalism, including at playgrounds, and police say the live access is a key preventative and investigative tool. King Island Council has been honoured at the 2026 APRA Music Awards for holding Australia's longest-running public music licence. The licence was first issued in 1926 for a community hall on the island, and it's still active today. Mayor Marcus Blackie says it reflects a long-standing respect for music makers and a love for community events. In South Australia, Adelaide's largest council, Onkaparinga, is backing a growing push for new laws to tackle cars left on suburban streets for long periods. The Weekly Times reported that the council received 730 reports of abandoned vehicles in the past year, but says its hands are tied unless a car is unregistered, genuinely abandoned, or causing a safety hazard. Mayor Moira Weir says legally parked vehicles can stay put for months with little the council can do, despite those impacts on parking availability, neighbourhood amenity and, in some cases, safety and access. Several South Australian mayors have written to the local government minister calling for reforms modelled on New South Wales, where councils can issue notices and then move or fine vehicles if owners don't act within set timeframes. Well, I assume they find the owner, not the vehicle, but you get the point. Now let's go to Western Australia. The City of Rockingham's controversial red bin policy has sparked a major community backlash, with more than 400 residents turning out to a special council meeting, and many turned away due to capacity limits. A local petitioner told 6PR that the surge reflects frustration with council representation, with 5 motions passing aimed at boosting transparency. City of Bayswater Mayor Philomena Pifaretti says a viral social media spray by newly elected councillor and Big Don smoked meats owner Donovan McDonald is damaging the city's reputation and undermining staff. Perth Now reported that Councillor McDonald claimed local government is lazy and raised concerns after an internal audit found serious food safety compliance issues. The mayor says the problems were administrative and improvements are underway. There's been a councillor resignation at the Shire of Wagin. Greg Ball announced he was stepping down on Friday after serving multiple terms since 2007. His position has already been filled. The first unelected candidate from the 2025 elections, Wade Longmuir, has been elected to serve the remainder of the term through to 2029. Some tree news for you. A much-loved big tree in Greenfields is getting specialist support after the city of Mandurah found a major crack in the 200-year-old tuat, a type of eucalyptus. Perth Now reported that arborists and engineers have designed a certified cable and strap system to improve stability, building on earlier pruning work in 2022. And the town of Victoria Park has been named a Tree City of the World for a 6th year, the longest run in WA. The council says the award recognises its urban forest strategy, tree retention rules and community programs, including grants and free plants for residents. The town is working towards a 20% canopy target and says it planted almost 6,000 climate-tolerant native trees last year. Finally, in today's edition, some global news. We're whipping across to New Zealand, firstly, where councils are weighing up a government ultimatum on local government reform, with ministers giving mayors 3 months to propose amalgamation plans or have changes imposed ahead of the 2028 local elections. Some leaders say bigger councils with stronger community boards could improve local decision-making, while others warn that mergers won't necessarily save money and could dilute local identity, especially in rural areas. And some are concerned that 3 months is not a lot of time, according to RNZ reporting. Cabinet is expected to decide on final reforms next year. Auckland Mayor Wayne Brown has labelled Auckland's newly signed city deal with the government quite underwhelming, just 3 weeks after signing the deal with the Prime Minister. One News reported that Mayor Brown now says it commits no new central government capital funding and is heavy on language about exploring and considering future plans. Brown also says his proposed bed tax is now off the table until at least next year. He's also criticised the government's planned rates caps for councils, calling them a dumb idea. All eyes are on England this week as voters prepare to head to the polls for a massive round of local elections. More than 4,850 seats are up for grabs across 134 local authorities. According to the latest modelling from YouGov, it's a potentially volatile landscape. Reform UK is showing significant momentum in the West Midlands, while the Green Party is making notable inroads in urban centres like Birmingham and Coventry. This election also marks a historic moment for Surrey, with shadow elections taking place for the newly formed East and West Surrey Unitary Authorities ahead of their 2027 launch. In other news, local government leaders are expressing deep reservations about the recent overhaul of the NHS. A fresh survey released by the Local Government Chronicle reveals that 43% of council leaders believe the government's integrated care board reforms will actually result in a decline in service quality. Following the consolidation of ICBs from 36 down to 25 last month, district chiefs are warning that the move towards larger centralised boards is stripping away local oversight and risks repeating the structural failures of the past. And from the US, results are being finalised this week following a major round of municipal elections across the United States. In Texas, for example, Arlington Mayor Jim Ross has successfully secured a third term, winning just over 50% of the vote. According to Ballotpedia, 2026 is a pivotal year for local leadership, with 33 of the country's 100 most populous cities holding mayoral races. In technology news, a new report from Deloitte and the National League of Cities highlights a significant shift in how American local governments are operating. More cities are moving toward agentic AI models to manage chronic staffing shortages. Instead of navigating complex departmental silos, residents are increasingly using unified AI platforms to handle everything from building permits to pet registrations. This transition towards automated smart workflows is being touted as an essential move for municipal efficiency, allowing councils to maintain high service levels despite a tightening labour market. And Charlotte City Council in North Carolina has narrowly voted down a move that could have fast-tracked a moratorium on new data centres. The vote was tied, broken by the casting vote of Mayor Vi Lyles, who said the city needs more research before hitting pause on projects that are heavy on power and water use. Council members say Charlotte currently lacks specific data centre rules, with facilities allowed in several zoning districts. The issue will be discussed at a meeting next week. And now you're up to date with the latest from the Local Government News Roundup, edition number 582, recorded on the morning of Wednesday, the 6th of May, 2026. Any comments or feedback or story suggestions can be sent by email to chris@lgnewsroundup.com. And you can get more information about this episode, including story links, by heading to lgnewsroundup.com. The podcast is brought to you by the Victorian Local Governance Association, our foundation sponsor, and the national broadcaster on all things local government. And we receive support from Symphony 3, simple, connected customer experiences, and Rath Engineering Development, smarter local government systems built from real on-the-ground experience. The Roundup is recorded in the city of Greater Geelong, Victoria, on the land of the Wadawurrung people of the Kulin Nation. Until next time, thanks for listening and bye for now. Support for the Local Government News Roundup comes from Rath Engineering Development, smarter systems for local government, like Red GMS, helping councils manage gravel pits and projects, track quality, test results, blending options and haulage, and know the true cost per tonne from day one. Rath Engineering Development can give you a one-off report that uses your existing pit data to pinpoint the best gravel sources for your next resheeting program or disaster restoration works, saving your council time and money. For local government systems built from real on-the-ground experience, talk to the team at Rath Engineering Development. Head to rathed.com.au to find out more.